Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So over the last 7 years that I've been on YouTube, I've gained almost 6 million subscribers, thank you, and I've helped over 20,000 students grow their own channels in my part-time YouTuber Academy, which has been running for the last 4 years. And during that time, I've learned a lot about what it takes to grow a successful YouTube channel. So here is some brutally honest advice if you need it. And also this is advice to myself because I need to keep on relearning all of these lessons. So I hope you get some value from this video. Let's get into it. Nothing matters more than posting videos consistently. Now, consistency does not necessarily mean you have to put out a video every day or every week or whatever. Consistency just means you are choosing an upload schedule that works for you, that helps you do it in an enjoyable and sustainable way without burning out, and that you are sticking to that upload schedule. I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now, it is 12:30. I only have half an hour until I have to do a lunch thing. And honestly, I did not want to film this video. I had to get a coffee, I had to sort of talk myself into it. And I didn't get much sleep last night. I was feeling pretty tired, but one thing that I've learned over the last 7 years is that you're not always gonna feel like filming the video. You're not gonna feel like hitting record. I did not feel like hitting record before doing this video, but now that I'm speaking to the camera and I'm trying to, I've got this little warm cup of coffee in my hands, I'm trying to kind of enjoy the process. Now I'm I'm glad I hit record. I'm glad I started filming this video. Back in the day when I was first attempting to start on YouTube, I would wait to feel like filming a video before filming a video. And then very quickly I realized that consistency is kind of impossible if you allow yourself to wait for the feeling to strike. So now what I do is I try my best to sit down, kind of have a plan for what I'm gonna say and hit record. And I tell myself, I just need to record for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'm allowed to quit. But so far, I have never quit after recording. After, I think, one video in the last 1,000. I decided to quit after recording for 5 minutes because I really wasn't feeling it. We as YouTubers procrastinate so much on just hitting record, but consistency is the most important thing. Almost no YouTuber succeeds without being consistent. All right, next, if you want to stay consistent on YouTube, you need a system behind your YouTube channel. The mistake that I see so many creators make is that they are thinking one video at a time, thinking, what's the next video, what's the next video, what's the next video? This gets you into a cycle of being on a hamster wheel, it gets you into the cycle of burnout. The thing that I've seen from myself and every other successful YouTuber I know is that we all have systems behind our channel. The most fun thing for me to discuss with other big YouTubers when I hang out with them is, what does your production system look like? And everyone's like, oh yeah, let me show you. It's in Notion, it's in Apple Notes, and it's in Trello, it's in Figma, all this sort of stuff. And they can all just draw out the entire production pipeline for their YouTube channels. And that's because successful creators have realized that systems provide leverage. Systems are what make the production of YouTube videos feel much more effortless than it actually is. If you're having to grind and do this heavy lift each time you make a video, it's really hard to do. But if you have a system, if you have a sort of format that you can follow, if you have like a style guide for your thumbnails, if you have a checklist that you're following for each video that you do, all of that means that the time and energy and effort you're putting into your channel is sort of being leveraged up and multiplied by this system of the content engine you've got underneath your channel. And that is what helps you be way more consistent with making videos. If you're interested in understanding some of my systems so you can copy and paste them into your own channel, you should check out my completely free YouTube crash course. It's linked down below if you want to check it out. Next, quality is important, but quantity is how you get there. Yes, of course, video quality is important. Of course, if you could, you'd rather make one really good video each week than like 2 kind of shitty videos a week. But generally, if you're a beginner, and you're probably watching this if you're a beginner or if you're like earlier on in your YouTube journey, I suspect you don't have much experience with making videos. I suspect you're probably not a filmmaker by trade. I suspect you want to make high quality videos, but if you're anything like our average student in our YouTuber Academy, you just haven't made enough videos in order to get good. You have to do it a lot. I would say like I got reasonably good at making YouTube videos about like 70 videos in, like 70. And even now we still work on leveling up the quality of the videos. But the way we do that is through quantity. Like you've got to get in the reps. You can't build muscle at the gym without going to the gym a lot. Yeah, of course, the form in which you do your bench press is kind of important. Well, it's pretty important. But going to the gym once a month, even if your form is absolutely amazing, is not actually going to get you any results. Making videos on a sporadic upload schedule is not going to get you any results. You improve the quality of your videos over time by making lots of them. And each time you do the video, thinking, okay, what is one thing I maybe want to improve for this video? You can't improve everything about the video all the time. You can't sustain every video needs to be better than the last, but you can always think, okay, what is one little thing I want to improve about this video, especially in the early days as you're starting out, as you are finding your feet on YouTube. Oh, by the way, if you are wondering about the absolutely sick background music that we've been using in this video, and actually in all of the videos on my channel since 2017, those are all from Epidemic Sound, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Sound design is a key part of making great content, and Epidemic Epidemic Sound makes it super easy with their massive library of over 50,000 songs and 200,000 sound effects. And all of these are restriction-free, so you can use them across all of your projects without any copyright issues. They're all professionally produced and original tracks too. And one of the coolest new features is that you can discover tracks by pasting a Spotify link in their search bar, which brings up music recommendations to match the exact mood that you're going for in your video. You can also just type in an artist name or a song name and Epidemic does the rest, which is a huge time saver if you're on the hunt for a specific vibe for your content. The other feature that we use all the time are their track customization tools. So you can shorten, loop, stretch, or even pick specific sections of music to use. And so then the music fits your video perfectly, all without leaving Epidemic Sound's web platforms or plugins. So if you would like to bring your videos and stories to life with sound, then you should absolutely check out Epidemic Sound. And at the time I'm recording this, it is Cyber Week, and so you can get 50% off the annual plan by using the code in the description. And this offer is only available for the next 7 days after this video goes live. But even if you're watching this after the fact, you should still sign up to Epidemic Sound anyway. I've been using them for every single video since 2017 for the 1,000 plus videos on this channel. Anyway, thank you so much to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. All right, next, stop worrying about your niche. You will find it over time. This is another massive thing that holds beginners back. It also holds experts back in a sense. Like I struggle with this as well, where I'm like, oh, what's my niche going to be? Almost like half the students I speak to in my YouTuber Academy when we do meetups and stuff are always asking, oh, I don't know what my niche is. Things are so oversaturated. Oh my goodness, like. And I always try and say, look, stop worrying about your niche. If you just keep on making videos, eventually your niche will emerge over time. Now, broadly, there's kind of two ways of approaching YouTube. There's the architect and the archaeologist. The architect approaches YouTube by like, I must have a blueprint. I must have the clear map before I get started with filming videos. Just like an architect. An architect wouldn't start building a house or a building unless they've got the foundation, they've got the blueprints, they've got the material, they've hired the contractors, they've done all of the planning. That is not the approach to YouTube I would generally recommend. The approach that I generally recommend, that most successful creators have been following themselves, is the archaeologist approach, where you're thinking, all right, cool, I'm gonna sort of dig in this particular niche for a little bit. I'm gonna make a few videos. Okay, cool, nothing really happened. I didn't really enjoy it. Audience didn't really bite. Cool, let's go to a different niche and let's dig and let's make some videos in that particular niche. And you sort of hop around different niches, different value propositions, until eventually you find this thing where you're like, oh, you know, I actually enjoy making these videos. And also, ooh, these videos seem to be getting like 12 views, whereas my last few videos have only gotten 3 views. Nice. Oh, I've got 3 comments on that video saying, oh, that was really interesting, tell me more. And you sort of stumble your way into carving out your own niche. If you look back at the history of my channel, I started out making shitty music videos where me and my friends were trying to sing songs. Then I moved to doing travel vlogs about my medical elective in Cambodia, where I was doing a plastic surgery placement. Then I started doing tutorials about how to do well in the BMAT medical school entrance exam. Then I made like a series of videos trying to build a medical app. And I was like, oh man, everyone wants to build an app and get rich building an app. So if I document the process of building an app, obviously things are going to go well. They have no views, like no one really cared. Then I started doing vlogs about life as a medical student. Then I sort of pivoted into giving advice to medical students. And that was when the channel started to first find its feet. And over time, after making dozens and dozens of videos, it was like video number 71 that finally took off for the first time. At the time, my niche was helping kids get into medical school in the UK. It's not that anymore. It's evolved over time. I'm now the general productivity and life improvement guy. But like, over time, if you look at the journey of any YouTube channel, it is very rare that they started knowing what their niche is from day one. So stop worrying about your niche, you will find it over time. All right, next, please don't do YouTube for the money. The only context in which you're allowed to do YouTube for the money, if I were to give you advice on this, is if you already have an existing business. If you have an existing business and you are simply using YouTube to drive leads to that business, firstly, you should join our accelerator program where me and my team can coach you one-on-one to help you save time. But secondly, if you don't have an existing business, which I suspect you probably don't, again, if you are like most people who watch videos like this and watch this channel, I suspect you don't yet have your own business that's generating cash flow. So if you are trying to do YouTube for the money, you are going about it the wrong way because it's really hard to make money from YouTube. Yes, you got brand deals, yes, you got AdSense, but like it takes ages to get the watch time and the subscribers you need for that to activate. It takes ages to get to a point where brands are gonna start paying you. When brands do start paying you, you're gonna be annoyed because initially you're gonna think, holy, this brand is paying me $800 to make this video. And then you're gonna realize what a total nightmare it is to make that video for the brand. And you're gonna start hating doing brand deals. I don't know any creator, myself included, who enjoys doing brand deals. I enjoy doing brand deals with my particular brands because they're very nice. And like, obviously we have good systems around it and I've been doing it for years. But if you are trying to do YouTube for the money, you are gonna burn out, you're gonna flame out because the money is not gonna come quickly. Instead, if you want to make money quickly, then you should start a business, don't start a YouTube channel. At least initially. Start the business first, get to $10,000 a month, then start doing YouTube as a way of generating leads for that business. That is a totally reasonable path if your primary goal is cash. And that's what I call the business first approach to YouTube. But instead, if you're going to take the creator first approach to YouTube, you want to instead do it for the fun and the fulfillment. You want to do it for the creative joy, the enjoyment of making videos where you can share what you know and you can maybe entertain an audience and you can maybe learn new skills. Doing it for intrinsic reasons rather than money is going to make it way more likely that you're actually going to stick to doing YouTube for the long term, and sticking to it for the long term, see our earlier point about consistency, is what you need to succeed. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, you are absolutely going to love my completely free part-time YouTuber crash course. This is an email course where each day I send you an email that has a bunch of really useful resources, tools, mindsets as it relates to growing on YouTube. If you want, there's a link down there or a QR code on screen or whatever. You enter your email address and you can get the course. And if you think it's bad, you can unsubscribe whenever you feel like it. But yeah, if you're interested in growing on YouTube, you might like to check that out completely for free. So if you do YouTube for the money and you do not already have an existing business, you are most likely going to burn out and you're not going to stick to it and your YouTube channel will fail. Next, it will probably take at least 2 years to get to where you want to get to. Whatever your goal is with your YouTube channel, you need to stick to it for at least 2 years. Something I often say is that if you make a video every single week for 2 years, it will completely change your life. I can't tell you how it's going to change your life. I can just tell you that it will change your life. YouTube is a very long game. It takes a large amount of work. It takes a bunch of time to get anywhere meaningful. If you look at some of your favorite YouTubers, they generally didn't start out big from day one. They generally grinded for absolutely years. And the only way they managed to do it for that time is they found a way to enjoy the process. If you haven't yet, you should read my book, Feel Good Productivity, which is a guide on how to actually enjoy the stuff that you're doing. If you're struggling with, I don't know, consistency, burnout, etc. on your YouTube channel, that's really going to help you. If you're struggling with consistency, burnout, etc. in your work, that book will also help you because it is a science-backed guide to how to actually enjoy your work. And again, enjoying the work, enjoying the creation of videos, enjoying the process of being a YouTuber or a business owner or whatever the thing is, that is the thing that allows you to do it consistently. It's sort of like enjoyment and systems, those two things. Systems give you leverage, which makes it easier. And then enjoying the process is what makes it feel energizing for you, which means you won't burn out. All right, next, imitate, then innovate. It's totally okay when you're just starting out to copy what other people are doing. Look at YouTubers that you admire, look at the sorts of videos they're making, and then do your own take on those videos. Back in the early days of my channel, there were 2 or 3 YouTubers who I really looked up to. They were Simon Clark, Sarah Dietschy, and Peter McKinnon. And my YouTube channel ended up as a result of me trying to imitate Simon Clark in sort of being a massive nerd, talking about like nerdy topics, trying to imitate Sarah Dietschy in terms of sort of talking about tech in like an engaging way, and trying to imitate Peter McKinnon in the sense of trying to do tutorials in like a vibey and charismatic way. And I wasn't doing it for photography or tech or physics or geoscience or whatever Simon was studying. I was doing it for medical school stuff. So I was sort of like copying these other YouTubers that I was looking up to, but doing it within my own area of expertise, which was the medical school admission stuff. You got to recognize that your content does not need to be original. It doesn't need to be unique. You know, that classic phrase, there is nothing new under the sun. Trying when you're starting out to create completely novel, original, unique content, it's probably not going to work because it's going to be really hard and it's going to increase the barriers to entry. Instead, imitate first and then you can always innovate later. All right, next, the algorithm isn't against you. Your content just isn't good enough yet. Like the YouTube algorithm is actually really dialed and tuned these days. And often I'll speak to beginner creators that are like, oh, you know, for some reason the algorithm doesn't like me, or the algorithm's this, or the algorithm's that. And generally what I say, and this is what people who work at YouTube and work on the algorithm also say, having attended a bunch of like events and stuff hosted by YouTube themselves, is that the algorithm is the audience and content is king. So if an audience isn't resonating with your content, the algorithm won't either because the algorithm matches the preferences of the audience. If the audience doesn't like your videos, the algorithm won't either. So it's not the algorithm, it is that your content just isn't good enough yet. Either that or you haven't given it enough time to find the right audience. Generally, the way the algorithm works is that it's sort of like, especially if you're a small channel, it'll take a while for you to get a critical mass of views on a particular video for the algorithm to realize, oh, this is the kind of audience that's resonating with this kind of content. If it doesn't think that there is any kind of audience that's resonating with that kind of content, then your video is obviously not going to blow up because the job of the algorithm is to give the right video to the right viewer at the right time. And so whenever creators start talking about algorithm this or algorithm that, it's like you can just replace algorithm with quality of content. You're like, oh, the quality of my content is not very good. It's like, okay, cool. Can we work on improving the quality of the content? The thing with quality of content as well is that it is a kind of a subjective thing. One idea of quality for one viewer might be different to another idea of quality for another viewer, which is why it's kind of important for you to figure out what do you want from your own YouTube channel and who is the audience that you want to serve? especially if you're trying to do YouTube for growth, especially if you're trying to do YouTube as a business, trying to make money from it. It's not about what you want to create. It's about how you want to serve the viewers who are watching your video. It's a little bit about what you want to create because obviously you want to enjoy the process as well, but it's this sort of conversation with the marketplace. You can't just think, oh, I'm just going to make whatever I want and like, sure. I mean, you could, but that's what a hobby is. A hobby is I'm just going to do whatever I want. And business is something for other people. It provides value to someone else's life. Viewers are paying to watch your video, not with their money, but with their time and attention, which is even more valuable than their money. And so the exchange of value in return for their time needs to be worth it. And that is what defines a good quality video. Was it worth it for the person watching? Did they have a good experience as a result of watching that video? It doesn't necessarily need to entertain them. Some people are looking for education on YouTube. This video probably isn't very entertaining, but if you're watching it, hopefully you're still watching it because you're getting some value out of the education or the tips that I'm sharing. If you're not getting value of the education or the tips that I'm sharing, you would have already stopped watching this video. So the fact that you're here is somewhat a testament to my point that the right sort of person watches the video. And so hopefully if they get content, if they get value from it, the algorithm then figures out who else is getting similar amounts of value from the video. Probably, realistically at this point in the video, maybe only 30% of the audience is remaining, maybe. I don't know, maybe 40%, maybe 50%. But in the first 30 seconds, I would have lost at least 30% of the audience. And then there's a sort of like precipitous decline with the retention curve, as you'd have seen if you look at the analytics on your own channel. But if at this point no one is watching the video, then A, it's kind of pointless for me to be saying all this stuff and the rest of this video is kind of useless. But then also this video is not very good because clearly I haven't done a good enough job of showcasing expertise and knowledge and being engaging enough to hold your attention and sort of providing value enough to hold your attention. If that number is 0, then my video is not very good. If that number is 10, my video is less good than if that number is 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever the thing might be. It is not about the algorithm. It is about the value of your content to the audience that you are trying to attract. All right, next, the biggest thing holding you back is you. Now the idea here is something I got from Russell Brunson. I think he got it from Brooke Castillo, who is a life coach, which is that there are only 2 types of problems. There are drama problems and maths problems, or math problems if you're American. Drama versus maths. Now, whatever problem you're struggling with, ask yourself, is it a drama problem fundamentally, or is it a maths problem? A maths problem is something like the conversion rate on my landing page is 0.4%, but actually I want to get it to 0.8%, therefore I need to do tactical things to get my conversion rate up. That is a maths problem. A drama problem is pretty much everything else, which is like, I feel demotivated making content. I feel like my videos are not good enough. I have imposter syndrome that holds me back. I worry about my niche. I worry that my niche is oversaturated. Why on earth would anyone want to watch my content when they could be watching all that other stuff? Oh, I have blemishes on my nose. Maybe I shouldn't film today. Oh, my hair looks a bit shit. Maybe I shouldn't film today. These are all drama problems. The biggest thing holding you back is you. I have drama problems all the time with my YouTube channel. I didn't want to film this video. I was like, oh, is there going to be enough value in this video? It's not a math problem. It's a drama problem. We were working on a video earlier and I was like, oh, is there going to, it's about like the behind the scenes of $1 million launch that we did. I was like, oh, is there going to be enough value in this video? Like boohoo. And I'm sort of crying and moaning about it internally. It's a drama problem. It's not actually a maths problem. And so the advice here, which is advice to myself as well, is recognize, is it your emotions that are holding you back from doing a particular thing? Is it your emotions, thoughts, and feelings? Or is it like some actual like mathematical formula that is not working that needs to work? Generally, more than like 90% of the time, I do this in like live Q&As that I do for my YouTuber Academy and YouTube Accelerator students. 80 to 90% of the time, the problem is emotional and drama themed rather than a maths problem. Someone might start out by asking a maths problem like, hey, why is my retention curve bad? Or like, why isn't my channel growing? Which feels like it's a maths problem initially, but then you dig a little bit below the surface and you find, oh, Johnny, you've not been consistent. Why haven't you been consistent? Oh, life got in the way. And then it's like, okay, cool. Like, are you making time for your YouTube channel? No, not really. It's like, okay, why not? Well, I don't really know if my niche is good enough yet. That is a classic drama problem disguised as a maths problem. So the biggest thing holding you back is you. Next up, for goodness sake, please outsource your editing. It might be difficult to do at the start of your journey if you're broke and have absolutely no money. But if you are like most people watching this channel, you probably have a 9-to-5 job. You are probably a working professional. You probably have some money coming in. And I would ask you, what do you value your time at? You could outsource editing for like $10 an hour, $15 an hour USD to someone quite good. You could find someone who's maybe less good, who's in a different country, who maybe is charging $5 an hour or $7 an hour. The more you value your own time, the more you should pay for someone else to edit your videos. Unless, of course, you really enjoy editing, or editing is really important to the success of your channel. Most creators that I know, most creators who are successful, most creators who manage to do it consistently have found a way to outsource their video editing. If you're interested in strategies on how to outsource your video editing, I have an entire module about this with like checklists and job descriptions on the whole shebang as part of my YouTuber Academy course. That'll be linked down below if you want to check it out. Next, you are only ever as good as your next video, so never stop improving. In a way, if you are not improving the quality of your content, you are falling behind. You've got to be always improving something about the content. Now, not to the point of burnout, not to the point of like, oh, holy shit, every video has to be better than the last. How do we define better anyway? But we've got to be finding ways to improve the process, improve the system behind our channel, improve the strategy behind our channel, improve the way that we're maybe talking to the camera, improve the editing of the videos, improve the sound design, whatever the thing might be, improving our idea generation, the way we look at analytics, all that stuff. Because every single month, YouTube is becoming more and more competitive. There are more people than ever before trying to make it as YouTubers, especially with advancements in hardware, like anyone can film on their iPhone. And secondly, with advancements in AI, like software. There's an app called Firecut that my friend Sahel made for Premiere Pro, which saves 2 hours in the editing journey. It's like, all right, cool. So it now makes the barrier to entry a lot lower, which means every day more and more people are flooding into the market because more and more people are realizing, holy shit, you can make money on this YouTube thing. And so even if you're a successful creator, you can never let yourself be complacent with this because you don't have any right to the success that you have. Your success as a creator, my success as a creator, whatever that might be, is basically down to how much value I provide the audience. And if my content stops providing value to the audience, people are going to stop watching. It's not like it used to be back in the day, maybe like 10 years ago, where people would sort of religiously watch the same YouTuber every day at like 4 p.m. Back in the Casey Neistat era where people would tune into his vlog. It's not really like that anymore. YouTube is so algorithmic. The people that you're subscribed to, you're very unlikely to see all of their videos on the homepage. You might look at a channel that you subscribe to and think, I wonder what happened to them. And you see they've been uploading twice a week for the last year. You just haven't been shown those videos on your homepage because at some point you stopped engaging with that content because clearly you didn't find it valuable enough. And now the algorithm knows not to recommend those videos to you anymore. And so you know your own viewer preferences. You only watch channels, you only watch videos in channels if they are actually giving you value. And so if your channel is not giving other people value, it's going to start to decline. And so in that sense, we are never allowed to be complacent. This is why YouTube is an infinite game. It's not like a finite game that has a set of rules and like a completion criterion like, yep, I've completed YouTube. It's an ongoing process of improvement. And that again speaks to my point of if you are enjoying the process, you enjoy playing this game. I broadly enjoy making YouTube videos. I'm now, what is it, like 32 minutes into filming this video. I'm having quite a good time. I'm playing around with it a little bit. For the first 3 minutes of the video, I was not enjoying it, but I found a way to enjoy the process, and enjoying the process is what helps you be consistent and keeps it sustainable over the long term. All right, next, gear is not holding you back. Again, this is something that I hear from beginners in my YouTuber Academy all the time of like, I don't yet have the perfect setup. I don't have the right camera. I don't even know how to use a camera. Everyone has a phone. Phones are so good these days. There are creators that you know with millions of subscribers. There are creators I know with hundreds of thousands of subscribers who simply film using an iPhone or an Android or whatever the thing is, because gear does not really matter. Yeah, it's nice having a nice setup and a nice studio and like, it matters a little bit, but it's not the thing that's holding you back. If you think that gear is the thing from holding you back, that is not a maths problem, that is a drama problem. And you want to understand what is the emotional drama at the core of why you think you need a fancier camera or a fancier microphone rather than just filming with your iPhone. If other creators can succeed by just filming with their iPhone, what is stopping you from being able to do the same? All right, next, don't fear negative comments. Negative comments are generally a sign that you're growing and that you are slightly stepping outside of your comfort zone. There's that quote, I don't know who it's from, but it's like, the only way to not get negativity is by doing nothing interesting. So as soon as you start doing anything interesting on YouTube, anything interesting in life, you will get some people, some haters, some people who don't like what you're doing, some negative comments. I get a bunch of negative comments on my channel. I tend to hide them from the channel. Like you can do that as well. You can just delete the comments from your channel. I think that's totally fine. But don't fear the negative comments. Negative comments are in a way a sign of growth. For most channels, you'll find that the vast majority of the comments are very positive, but something that I know still holds people back is this fear of like the random stranger on the internet who is leaving a random negative comment. Yeah, it feels bad. I got a comment on my last video where someone was like, oh, Ali, you gotta change your niche. You're not getting the views that you once were. And the reason is your content is becoming repetitive. I was like, yeah, that felt bad. I'm like, shit, is my content becoming repetitive? And I'm like, yeah, maybe it is. Then there was another comment being like, don't worry if the content is repetitive, bro. Like we get value from it. We wanna hear the stuff. We wanna keep hearing it. And one thing interesting, one interesting comment that someone posted underneath that comment thread, I was looking at this, was that, you wouldn't accuse a chemistry teacher, a ninth grade chemistry teacher, of repeating content, the fact that they repeat the course every year. You just say, hey, once you stop getting value from ninth grade chemistry, you've graduated. Go to 10th grade chemistry, go to something else, do something better with your life. If you're getting negative comments on your channel, it's a sign that people are watching it, which is a very good thing. But also, if you're getting comments like I do, which is that, bro, the content's becoming repetitive, you can just like lean into that. I'm like, back in the day, I used to feel bad about it. I still feel a little bit bad about it, if I'm being honest. But like back in the day, it really used to get to me like, oh my God, my content's becoming repetitive. I don't have something brand new to say twice a week. Oh my goodness, I need more brand new things to say. And then I realized over time that I consider myself a teacher. A teacher doesn't worry about repeating content. You know, if you stop getting value from it, you've graduated. Congratulations. But again, this is advice that I need to take to myself because like, still when I see that comment being like, bro, your content's become repetitive, that's why you're getting less views than you were like 3 years ago. I'm like, ugh, some part of it still hurts. And when you find a comment that hurts, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing because it means you have identified an area where you're still clinging to ego and where you are not free. And so back in the day, I used to avoid looking at negative comments. I now seek them out because they give me interesting data into my own internal state. The fact that I still feel a little bit of something at the thought that someone says my content is repetitive, it's like, oh, I clearly haven't owned that whole part of the process. I clearly feel like some ego attachment to being not repetitive, to being original, to being unique, all that kind of stuff. And so thank you to the person who says negative things about my channel, that my content is repetitive, that I wasted a spot in med school, like any of this sort of stuff. You will get negative comments. You can recognize them as a chance for spiritual growth and spiritual enlightenment. You can also view them as a sign that you're growing. And finally, if you are growing a YouTube channel, you should definitely watch that video over there, which is 5 signs of potential, and see which of these signs of potential your YouTube channel has. And if not, which of these can you incorporate into your channel? So that's right there. Thank you so much for watching.